All right, let's see what we can do with this model. Actually, it doesn't have a lot of mistakes in it. It's actually pretty good. Not too many. Let's set up the workspace a little bit better. You have it in layout mode, which is fine. I usually do things in the modeling mode. Let's see, and the plane is selected. And, let's see, let's do backface culling so that disappears if we want to move it around, but we don't need to see the plane at all, so let's get rid of it. This is where I like to work. And this is your model in my Blender setup, so it may look a little different. I'm going to set this back to median point. That looks okay. All right, let's do this. I'll go back to edit mode. Select it first. And I'm going to hit number 1 for my vertices. And let's unselect them, or let's select all of them. This is what I noticed yesterday. I'm going to hit M for merge by distance. And it got rid of 167 vertices. And you probably got some copies of those while doing extrudes. If you plan to do an extrude, but you don't actually do it, when you extrude something, it's going to make a copy of all the face and the verts and all that. So if you don't commit to the extrusion, you'll end up with vertices you don't need, twice as many. So the whole process. So that's always M and by distance, and it cleans everything up. And that's also going to help with your bevel. So I see you had to put a percentage to make it look right because you had lots of things that you didn't need interfering with the process. And you also have all of this that's going to be affecting your bevel because it's in the same model, it's in the same mesh, but it's intersecting the face, and it's probably giving you some problems. So what I'm going to do is let's organize this a little better. You always get in the habit of organizing your models and your parts, because you start to get a lot of them. It's going to be a tedious thing to have to go back and start naming things and doing all of that. So we're going to have a collection 2, and I'm going to call it turret. Then I'm going to take the cylinder and I'm going to push it into there, and let's call this turret. And we're also going to give it a dot, and I'm going to call it base. You can call it body or whatever the hell you really want to call it, but it's always good to have some kind of naming convention where you know where the model or where the part, the mesh, the object, where it belongs to. So if I just call it base and it happened to be not in a collection, you might have to figure out what it is. And plus, it's a naming convention that a lot of artists use if they're sharing files. It just helps everybody understand what the object is and how it's used. So we got that. Do that. And I'm going to take these. I'm going to press L for link selected. But you can't see it because it's behind my head, probably. Where can I put my head that's not going to be in the way? Okay. Maybe at the bottom here, or maybe in the top. Do we do anything in the top? I don't know. Maybe just right here, because we're going to need to be in this pane, in that pane. Select link. I don't have to do that there. And I'm going to do the same thing for this. Actually, what I'm going to do, yeah. I'll do one at a time. I'll do this. That's L, then P for separate selection. And that makes it its own object. So I can go back to the object mode and I can select that. And it's called this. Well, let's name it something of what it does. It's going to be a turret. We can keep base because it's a naming tree convention. We can call it elevation because we can give it some freedom of motion, rotating in the Y direction, I believe, up and down. So we call it elevation. So we know what that does. And then we can take that, L again, and separate it, selection, and we can call this elevation barrel. Or you can just call it barrel. But we're going to parent things together, and so that will make more sense. I can actually do it now if I wanted to. We'll get to the parenting later because we want to clean this stuff up. I can also make another nested collection and just move these into it. And then we can turn that off so we don't have to see them. That's nice. All right. You can turn the whole thing off. So we have a collection for all of our environmental stuff and a collection for our turret. And when you start getting into bigger, more complex models, you'll have many, many collections and sub-collections and parts. And it's just a good habit to start naming things as you go, because once you have to stop and start naming a whole bunch of things, sometimes you end up having to look for them in your model to find them, instead of everything being cylinder and cylinder 1 and cylinder 2, and it's nasty. Okay, back in the edit mode, select. I'm in turn back, yeah. All right, what do we have? First of all, we have this little guy who's not connected to nobody, and we want to get rid of him. So we'll just delete that vertices. Somehow you got empty vertices out there. I don't know how, what he's doing. And let's see, turn all this off now. We want to make a loop. See, I got my vertices set to a wider thickness so I can see them easier. So we want this to be tight to go all the way across. I'm going to do a Control R. That creates a loop there. And I can move it up and down, or I can hit the right mouse key to keep it where it stayed. Just going to bring up some things here that you don't need to play with. Then I'm going to select that and shift to select this other one, and I'm going J for join, unselect them, and then go back and do the same thing at the top here. And however you did it, it's putting it right where it needs to be. I'll do that and join that. And then I'm going to go on here to the other side and join these. J for join, and we have some. Let's see, what would happen is if we alt right, left click, we would get that, but it's going this way. So something's telling me that something's interesting going on here that we don't know. Or if we go face, what's the face going to do? See, the face loops all the way around. That's good. So we got something going on with this. It's just connected to the base. And that's an issue. That's the problem there. I didn't see this yesterday. I'm hitting GG to slide the verts up. Okay. All right, yeah, that is the issue. So this, I'm going to undo that, put them back there. I'm hitting 3 to go to my faces. Yeah, it's 1 for verts, 2 for edges, and then 3 for faces. I'm going to select the face. I'm going to delete it. Now I'm going to go back to verts, do this, and I'm going to subdivide by 1 to put a point there. Hit C for circle select. Do that, and I'm going to hit F to make a face. Then we're going to do the same thing over here. And be careful with the size of your circle, because you can hit that and get this in corner, one in the back, and we don't want that. So shift, click, click, and make a face. Oh, click off of it. And now if we go here and Alt select this loop, it's still not working correctly. Okay, oh, why not? Oh yeah, and have merge turned on. Merge helps bringing vertices that are close together. Okay, that's correct. That's what we want it to look like. We probably got the same problem over here, don't we? No, these were made correctly, so they're together, but not quite together. Can we join these? We can join those. Okay, that's the way that's supposed to be. I still don't know why it's not going all the way around, or if it even should. Probably because it doesn't know which way to go here. It says Blender likes quads, and this is an n-gon because it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vertices. We can fix that easily. Go back here, select all those, and I'm going to subdivide each of those and then just join that up. And probably do the same back here at the back, on the bottom. Subdivide. This is click, and then join all those. Yes. Now we have a bunch of quads, which also helps with. I don't think it's just going to do it. It doesn't need to, but I guess it's not going to. It's not going to go around there. It's probably because it has to decide to go here or go there, so it just stops. But it doesn't matter. It does not matter. And then what did I see? I thought I saw an extra vert in here when I was playing around. Well, I was fooling around with it yesterday, and I probably added it myself and didn't realize it. Because I was trying to do many different things. With it. Alright, and just check, make sure. And moved 3 vertices. Interesting. I wonder where they were at. I wish it told you where they were at, but it doesn't. Now will it go there? No. Not to worry. And you can do another thing. You can, in faces, we can select all by trait in interior faces, and if there was an interior face in here, you would highlight it and you can get rid of it. Interior faces can also cause problems with beveling and shading and all that and make things look like crap. So, okay, let's go back here to the bevel. We're going to do some shade, maybe auto smooth for harden. I don't know if we need to do that. You have a percent, but we're going to go back to offset. And we're going to go to the clamp override, clamp overlap. Blah, 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 blah. Sometimes you can set this to arc. Doesn't matter. Now I'm going to do a wireframe. I have this set my quick keys, but you can find it here. Or no. Where's it at? Wireframe. Wireframe. You can right click and you can see assign shortcut or add or remove from quick favorites. So I'm going to go back and do wireframe, and that will show you what the wireframe is going to look like with this bevel, and you can see what the arch does. So I can change that to a patch, and it may change some places, it may not, but sharp. I'm really not seeing anywhere where what I'm trying to show you is making an effect. Let's bring this down to 0.2, and that's still high. 0.01 is better. You probably can. We'll be able to see it now. See how the arch makes it blend better. Patch is about the same, except it makes a little corner, but arch is preferable. Usually, if you try to do the inner ones, it becomes a mess. So, how is it determining the clamp over? So you can go here and it's just going to go up to that, and that's when everything's going to, when the bevel wireframes are going to overlap, is when it stops. They get closer and closer, and they do that. With clamp off, we can exceed that and go over, and we get a mess. So clamp override will work, and it can only, I mean, if you have the smaller the distance is, if I were to take that and scale it in Z, that's going to affect how much, that's going to affect the offset of your bevel. It's going to, so it's going to get closer and closer. And that's sometimes a good way of knowing that you've done something wrong, is if you have a bevel the way you like it to look and you do something and it almost appears to go away, it's because there's two faces that are too close together. Sometimes you can't get rid of that problem. So you got 3 limited. Take that off. We don't need a lot of bevel for this. It's just a thing. Good. You have it none. Usually we use angle, because that means if everything under 30 degrees is going to look flatter, and that can be changed. And you can see up here how it's doing something. Well, it would depend on the shading. See, at 31, it looks like it gets lower under 30. I think that can be affected in the normals here. Well, maybe not with a bevel. Well, depends. It depends. And I want to go and look at this in Madcap. Or you can do the shiny. And you can, this has a nice reflective surface. You can see this is a problem here. But that can go away with changing the angle. But maybe another way of doing that. Because what it's doing is it's, even though we're working in quads, it's triangulating that surface. So if we were to take that surface, let's get out of this. Let's go to this. We were to take that surface and triangulate. You can see it put a thing there. Even though it looks like even though it's in the opposite direction, and now we look at it, we see that there's an edge here. We're not seeing it split off from there, but we don't want to do that. Let's see it here, and that's almost as if we have a joint. Well, what are you doing? I'm on a joint there, which actually cleaned it up a little bit, but that's not what we really want to do. We want a quad. We want these faces to, let's see if this will work. I'm going to try to sharpen them. Is that like the way? Oh, I know what the problem is. Shading hardened normals. So that makes it look like you would expect it to look like this is one whole thing. Shading normals works until you put on a subsurface. Subsurface doesn't like auto smooth. Maybe take it off, but we really don't need auto smooth in here. I don't want to do that. So we look at it and everything looks fine. Without the hardened normals, we can start to see shading problems with the way this geometry is trying to render. And we can do this too, checking our normals with the vertices, and that's, I have a light that's in them. For some reason, light selected. I'm looking at the normals for all the vertices, and you can see they're pointing off in different directions, and that's pretty much tells you how the camera rays are going to read the surface. That's pretty much normal. It's pretty much like that. And these edges are showing 90 degrees, which is good. Of course, the faces all pointing up. Faces are pointing where we expect them to point. I think the face normals are what we're really looking for. So yeah, hardened normals makes everything look nice. If you didn't want to harden normals, you would, this would be the same way of doing it. Where do I want to go? Ready to select a loop, Alt, left click to select the loop, and go to, nope, not you. We're going to mark sharp, and that cleans that up too. Then you can select all of these, and then we're going to hit Alt Shift to select more, and then mark sharp, and it straightens them up a little bit better. Still have some areas, but of course, undo. Just hitting hard normals cleans that all up. Easy peasy. Okay. We did that. All right, I'll go back to studio view and let's turn the base off. Turn that current on. We can turn the base off and just work on this. We got two different objects here to work with. And we got these bevels. Set all that too. It doesn't like it. Is it all smooth on or off? Turn that back on. I like how this is a new feature. It pops up over here. It smooths it out, but because you're... All right, did it not work? That's not really going to matter for that. But you didn't use a lot of verts, and we got little artifacts here as a because it's so high. Oh, because this, go back to angle. I got rid of that. These other options, I won't go into. There's plenty of YouTube videos that cover beveling and what all these options mean. But we're not there yet. That's that. We can turn this off and look at this. What can we do with this? I want to play with it, if you do not mind. What we want to do right now is our origin is out to the side here because it was part of the full mesh. So we're going to move that back into the thing here. Set origin to geometry. Boom. And let's bring up in. See where our location is. So we got it centered on the x-axis, which is good. So what I want to do, I want to take it. I'm going to put a control loop right through the middle of it. Hit enter. I'm going to go to X-ray view, select verts, and I'm going to do a B for box select. Select all these and just get rid of them. Then I'm going to go in here and put in a mirror. And I just bring it up to the front, to the top. And yeah, that's right. Clipping, I want clipping on. So now we can just play with all this over here without having to do too much work. I don't want to see my bevels. So let's get rid of those. And let's just make this look, well, we already did that, didn't we? There shouldn't be any extra verts. Okay, good. Alt, click. So you can also, if you click somewhere out of it, see, if I click on this side of the vert, Alt click, it's going to be this loop. If I click on this side of the vert, it's going to be this loop. Now I'm just going to double G and just slide that a little bit. Make it a little bit more mechanical. Now I'm going to do the same thing with this face. I'm going to take it and I'm going to move it in X, G, X. I use a lot of the keyboard functions instead of the tools on the side of here. I rarely use these. I might use the spin here. Probably feels pretty good, but I usually use the keyboard functions. Just gives it a little bit of a look to it. And we can do this. We can insert another face and then extrude that in a little bit. Just to give it a good mechanical look. Actually, we can do this. Well, slide this out a little bit. Is that going to work? Well, we can move it and see. Move it in X a little bit there. This. Keep that there. Faces. All three. I'll click all of these. I'm going to go in here to select, check or deselect, and I get all of those. All right. I inset those. A little bit, maybe that. Now I'm going to Alt-E, and I'm going to extrude along normals, and I'm going to bring some of these out. And I think I need to be individual origins and scale and bring them in a little bit. Just to give it a little bit of a more of a mechanical look, I guess. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe we don't want to do that because we're going to do some other stuff with it later. So let's just, I do like where that's at. But those are some options to play with. Okay. I think we can go ahead and apply this mirror. I don't think we're going to do anything more than that. Now let's mirror it. We don't like the bevel. The bevel is, well, I guess we do like the bevel. But we're going to get all this smoothed out with a subsurface modifier. Do we have our, yeah, we're going to turn that off. A subdivision surface, it's going to smooth that out. And the bevels, turn on our wireframe. We see that the bevels create a nice control loops that we don't have to build. And we can see that if we jumped it ahead, it does that kind of weird smoothing. So where things are in the stack makes a difference. And what's this other? Is disabling GPU. I thought I had auto. Yeah, that's where I had to take auto smooth off. Gets rid of that because it's going to be pretty smooth anyway with the subdivision. Oh, well, we can do this too because that looks a little bit harsh. I'm going to just do this, go back in these two edge sharps. You want to be in the curves. That make that sharp. I want to make this. Does that make that? Let me just make all these sharp. It really doesn't make much of a difference, does it? I can bring my bevel down. Wow, that's really got to be low. More offset or width. Sometimes width gives a little bit better, but I'm hitting shift and adjusting this with the mouse just to give it a more finer look. Doesn't look too severe. All right, let's put the barrel back in here. Barrel, you are so horrible. All right, we're gonna go back to all these depths. Yahoo! Here we go. I'm going to delete that. I got that selected. I'm going to select this, and this is the primary. I'm going to go Control C to copy. Copy selected modifiers, bevel, and subdivision. Okay, and now you don't have to go back and do all that redo stuff. It's sharing the same subdivision and bevel parameters that you have set in here. See, they're all the same. Actually, I can go ahead and go to 2 on this. Actually, probably 1 will be fine for the battle render. So it keeps all those same. The hard and normal is just going to give us an error like, no, we can't do it because you got subdivision on it, you bastard. And we want to move our origin over to the geometry like that. Okay, so we have that's at 4.9. That's it. See, they share the same height, and that's good. That's exactly what we want. Okay, and what we want to do with these is a Boolean union. Fine. So I'm going to turn my wireframe back on. And what we want to do is we want to try to get these wireframe edges matching. So I'm just going to go back to median point. Some people go to bounding box center. It's about the same place as making changes from the origin point. So I'm going to scaling from the origin point, and I'm just going to bring it up to where those vertices are pretty, those lines are pretty close to each other. And of course, it looks like you have more faces in this than you do that, but that is all right because when I did this before, it seemed to work very well. Let's see, still it's a little bit more. Okay, well, I can also select all of these and even scale in the we'll do that. Now we got our scale is different, so I'm going to go Control A, and I'm going to apply the scale. And that's going to shoot everything to 0. And that's 0, and that's 0. Always important. All right, I want that to be the Boolean. I don't want the wireframe off just for clarity. And I have these off. Now I have Boolean tools somewhere. Where is it at? Edit, build tools enabled, so I can hit. So I can select both of these and then hit Control plus to do it automatically. But let's say you don't have that. It's an add-on. It should be available in your preferences for your add-ons, which are, if you don't know, preferences, add-ons, and then you have all your add-ons here that you can choose from. There's lots to play with. Some you can download. So let's undo that, and I'll show you how to do it the hard way. Select this, go in here, and add a Boolean. And we want it to be the first thing in our stack because it just makes everything else easier. Because then it's going to get Boolean, and then it's going to get beveled, and then it's going to get subdivided. We can do it in other orders, and you'll see what the effect will be. And we want a union, and we want our object to be this. So we use it, and it sticks it. And you can see, there's some issues going on here with the shading. You want that, and I don't think we have to play with any of these things. You can play with them to see what they do, and I've done that, and I don't see much of a difference. So how can we fix these? Oh, and also, if we turn that off, we still see that. So our barrel is no longer needed, and what they like. So we're gonna We still want to see it because we can still edit it or manipulate it. But now that it's Boolean, it's an extension of the elevation drum. So we are going to go to, and I hope my microphone doesn't cut on all this shit. Get that. What am I looking for? What am I looking for? What am I looking for? Not that. This? Yes, this. Viewport display. Display as bounds. So we see a box around it. Then we can edit the box, and we'll see. Go back and look at our the cylinder that you created, and we can hide it because we don't need to see it, and then we don't need to have it rendered. Let's go to 1 to look at a view, and we're going to go here, and I'm going to, well, maybe we do want to have it on. Let's look at it. So we can do this. Now, of course, if I was still mirrored, I would only have to make 1. Loop, cut, Control R for the loop, and I'm just going to bring it in. I'm looking up at the top corner, my edge slide. I'm going to go negative 0.5. Just going to put that there and mark it. And I can go in here and do this side. I'm going to loop, and I'll go pop, oh, not negative, 0.5, and it will put it on the opposite side. And these are control loops for the Boolean. So if we come out of that, it straighten up all of our shading areas. We still have some because we have verts that aren't going to anything. And if we had another, they were the same amount of faces, it would match. It's messing that up mess with the bevel that's doing that, right? I really don't know what any of this stuff does. It doesn't seem to be. Okay, maybe we can use fast. That looks a lot better. Because there was a hole there. That does look like a pretty good, and that did clean up the shading a little bit. And you say, yeah, that could work. That may work for you, but we can make it better simply by, oh, let's do this too. Since I can say if I move the bevel up over it, it does some stuff. And I move the subdivision over it, it does some crazy shit too. Or we can move the bevel under it with the subdivision at the top. You know, it's just, it makes things a mess. So the Boolean, I like to think of it as the Boolean does the most to the mesh, and then the bevel does the least after that, and the subdivision does the least after that. I guess that's a good way of looking at it. I'm not used to talking so much, so my voice is getting kind of weird. So I'm going to go back to this, and we'll just apply it. And then we can hide you again, if we're not delete it. And then we go into, back to verts, and we see we have lots of things to clean up. You have a little hammer. So we got on the top. So well, we can do this, but there's probably not going to be many. It didn't. Okay. We want to fix this. We're going to select that, and we're just going to double G and slide it down. And we have our merge on, so that they merge together, and you can see it clean up that issue there. That looks okay. So we'll just move these. We'll move this vert instead of this vert, because this vert is controlling this cylindrical geometry, and we want the barrel, we want this part to look as round as possible. And we don't care so much that this doesn't look as round as possible because it's right here at the joint of where the barrel goes into the gun. And there's another way to do this. We can select both these. And this one's highlighted. We can do M, and we can do at last, and it does the same thing. But it's just easy to just take it and slide it and merge it. It cleans that up. Now we have a whole bunch of things that need to be cleaned. Where can we make quads? I want to. What I remembered yesterday that it didn't have as many points as this does. It's kind of weird. We can join here and here. That's going to make a quad. And we can join here and here, and that's going to make one. Do the same thing around the bend. And it should be showing some pretty decent, nice, smooth geometry. And of course, we can look at this, not that, with the madcap shiny, and we can see it goes around there nice and pretty. I'll keep hitting that. I don't want to do that yet. Wrong button. Join that. What happens if we do this? And then get rid of this. I'll worry about that later. Join you. Join you. It's tedious. Or were there spots where they would so I want to make sure my verts aren't, because I'm getting a better result than I did yesterday, and I'm not really sure why. It may be because of the way I scaled it. That's what it was. And you see these things tighten up a little bit. Plus, we can probably what's that going to look like if we slide that out? I don't know if that looks better or not. Not really. I'm trying to think how can I do next. not going to let us do that. I guess we have no choice. What? Let me see how that subdivision is bringing that down a little bit. That's messing things up too. Sometimes it's better just to avoid subdivision at all by having a very large, like a cylinder with 128 faces is pretty smooth looking and still kind of manageable without having to use subdivision. Because sometimes subdivision is causing a little bump to pop up in there. When we connect those two together. Is that going to take it out? No, not as much. I think it looks better. But then again, when you're far off, you're not going to see what that's going to do, really. Then go back and take that out. And I am dissolving it, because if I remove it, it puts a hole there. We don't want holes in our meshes, unless we want holes in our meshes. I think that's going to be probably the better way to do that. Oh, it's kind of flat, though, isn't it? Well, isn't that turn? Yeah, I didn't think that was going to make any difference. Well, let's see. We don't really need this. I can get rid of that. We don't need that one either. We don't need that one either. We really don't need this one either. We can use that one. We can keep that one because we can use it for something useful. Then I don't know if this is going to work or not. Let's see. I might can. Well, let's do some more cleanup of this. I wanted to select. These. I think this is going to work. I don't want. No, I think I need these. I'm going to collapse. Oh, it didn't work the way I thought it was going to work. For some reason, it's not working like I think it's going to work. So I'll do that again. Yeah. We don't want these. Drag that over to that. And this is just getting rid of some extra loops we don't need. Damn it. G to drag. Do all that. We can get rid of this, I believe. It's not perfect. It would be more better for both of these things that are being boolean together to have the same amount of faces. That's the thing there. But this is what we're working with, so this is what we end up with. I won't do that. Now let's just make sure. I don't think we have anything doubled, but we can make sure. Oh, yeah, collapse everything into one thing by distance. Mesh deal looks good. Can we select all these? Probably not. But I want to try a... No, not you. Well, damn it. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go into vertex group. I'm going to create a group. I'm going to call it bevel. It doesn't need to be capitalized like that. I'm going to assign all those. And this weight is the amount of influence we're going to have. So we're going to 100% weight. Now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to add another bevel. I'll probably want to have it under here. I'm going to change this to vertex group. And I'm going to select bevel. And I don't know if it's going to... Doesn't seem to be doing anything that I want to do. Okay, it works at the top. But we can see we have some shitty things going on there. That's not gonna do anything. It's probably because that point is not. Maybe these have to be connected. Looks a little bit better. Looks like crap, doesn't it? Looks like crap. It's almost like this has to come out a little bit. Yeah, nope. Go away. I want to do this. Undo. Now I'm just playing around with it, trying to get it to work. As you can see, it's not really working out too well. There's probably a way to fix it, but we don't need it. Something is going on though. It just looks like something is going on. I think these need to be joined. And these don't need to be here. Well, wait a minute. Get that back to that. Now I'm just going to delete these. And that actually fixes it, doesn't it? And that's what really matters. It's just getting rid of the shit that you don't need. And now we can see that. It's doing an okay job. This mic can go. Go back to clamp. That's as big as it's going to get, because you can see we got a lot of weird looking shit going on here. And that's because of the subdivision. We don't want that. Huh. Okay. That worked out better. Did that work out better? It'll work out better if we move it to the side though, won't it? Give it some more room to grow. I don't know. Why does that look crappier than that? That looks okay, I guess. Sometimes it's... I don't know. Let's not dwell on it too long. I'll just get rid of this. Well, I mean, that looks fairly decent. We might move them out a little bit, give it a little bit more room. Scale X. That looks a little bit better. Maybe not 100% perfect. Still got some issues there because I got too many verts to play with. Or what if we go there? Oh no. Now I'm taking too much time in this video. I don't really think that made anything different. But anyway, yeah, if these are all the same number of faces, it would be a lot easier to blend them together. Now we can take these faces. Let's just make them one face. I just hit F to do that. I'm going to inset this a little bit. I'm going to do this. Let me go back. Okay. I want all of these. Let's select all of these. And let's give them a little bit of a shrink. I want to just shrink. I don't want to shrink in Y, so I'm going to do this Shift and Y to block it, and this Z and X. Give it a little bit of a cannon taper. Why the hell not? All right, this is still going long. I can't make a short video for shit. We can do this. Alt E, normals. Let's get that, and then we'll scale that by Y. Give it a nice beveled edge like that. That looks kind of cool. Select this face. I'm going to inset it just a little bit. And then we can extrude. And Y. Now we have this nice little gun. We can go all the way in there if we wanted to, but that's probably good enough. Or we can just change this bevel a little bit higher. It may not go any much higher because of how close that stuff is. All right, now we got that. We can turn the turret face back on. And that face is matched up pretty good with that. And then what we can do is go back into these. We can lock with this. We can lock Z and X, and then we can do this. Oh no, wrong one. Dumbass. Dumbass. You can elevate it in Z. With that, we can do that. And we want to, we don't need this anymore, so we can get rid of it. Delete that, and now we're going to select this, and we're going to hit Control P for parenting, and we're going to parent this to the object. So this is in this, and we see that here. If we go down here, it's unselected. It's showing that the turret base elevation, this point is in its own collection, but it's also faded here that it's a parent to that. And we don't have to have it in this collection, so we can take it out and move it in there, and then we see that it's underneath what it's parented to, and we can probably just go ahead and get rid of that collection. So then we can pick this and we can move it around and everything is together, which is great. And if we move this, we can move it around, and we can see this line that tells you that it's connected to that. But we don't want to move that around. We just want to move the base around. And I think that cleans up the mesh. Does it look nice? I think it looks nice. Yeah, everything's green. I think that ought to do it for me. So I will do another video about the materials and what about the set the scene. All right. Cool with you? Yeah.